And now we have 2. Hey guys, before we get started on this job, I want to take a minute out to thank someone who is not technically a sponsor of the channel, but has come through to really help us with this project, and that is Safety Restore. I've used them time and time again to reset my belts when they've been blown in the STI and in the Stinger. And this time, even though we don't have blown belts, we are going back to Safety Restore so that we can do a cosmetic upgrade to make this car really pop on the interior and put that finishing touch on it before we start getting into other mods for this car. So huge shout out and a big thanks to Safety Restore for coming through, and there will be links down in the description below if you want to do anything to your car, whether it's reset the seat belts or just upgrade your look to something totally off the charts color wise, or just a subtle little bit of striping like we're going to do, or just to replace them with newer belts. Please send your belts to Safety Restore. They're quick, efficient, and they do a fantastic job, and you will not be disappointed. And with that, let's get on to this project. Let's dive into this beautiful red interior, and the first thing we need to do is upgrade these seat belts. That's one thing the Stinger had that I absolutely loved, and while the seat belts are not blown in this car because it's a clean title car with no airbags or anything blown, we're gonna send these seatbelts off to Safety Restore and get some beautiful red edging on these webs so that we can match the orange edging that we had in the Stinger. So first job on this car, first mod, remove all 5 seatbelts and get them shipped off. Taking off trim stuff pretty easy. Just a couple of plastic tools to get in there and take it off. Okay, so we got our bolt here. We got a couple of little electrical connectors here. We will see if we can get that guy out. So there's one. And then I'm gonna pop the little yellow plastic top up on this guy. There we go. So we'll just pop that guy up like this, and then this guy should pull straight out. There we go, like that. So we'll get this 14mm bolt down here and this 10mm bolt right here, and we should be good. And there's the main part of the seatbelt module with the one connector we took out and the airbag connector. So now, aside from getting all of this through here, we've got to get this side piece off, and I can see the bolt head down there, but it is at an angle, so I'm going to remove this side cover. Oh, there we go. Just pull it up. So these all pull upward. So if we just grab the bottom and pull this up, all these disengage. Okay, so we got that pulled out. Now we can slide it through here. And there's our front seatbelt assembly. One more of those to go up front, and then all we have is the back. Front seats are done, so much easier on this side, as you would always expect. So now let's move to the back seat to get those 3. Hinge here was bolted on with 14mm bolt. We pull that out, slide this over. That allows this side to come free. Now we've got one more 14mm bolt back in there behind the side bolster. I have my trusty wobble tipped 6-inch extension that allows this 14mm socket to move around on there a little bit, so that I can hopefully, without removing that bolster, lose my socket in there. Get that on that bolt like this and remove it. Once I have that removed, then I'll be able to work on this seat, because I've got to get into the back of it to be able to remove the reel, which is back here, and that was no fun on the Stinger, so we'll see how it goes on here. Those I should be able to get up underneath here and remove them underneath from the trunk side, and then the little clips on the corner there, you just have to pry the ends of them open. They have a little snap there They're not hinged, but they do flex, so when you pop this loose, it gives you enough clearance to get that belt out of there. All right, so down here, on the Stinger, I did replace this web. I'm not gonna worry about it on this one. These two are too short to see. This one barely shows up out of the seat, and it has a connector going through it that runs all the way up into here, and I would have to send it off with it and have them sew it in there, and I'd rather just leave it the way it is. Now we're gonna pop the trunk and see about pulling these off. So in here, it looks like we will have to pull off some of these liners in here, on the sides at least, so that we can access the bolts that are holding that on. I think that they might be bolted in from the top, which is gonna make them a real sweetheart to try to get out. It's definitely on top. We've confirmed it. So back to the drawing board. We got to get back in there and look at trying to pull up that rear cover. There we go. I like that. We're gonna have to pull this front cover off. Let's see if we can get some wrenches in here and get these guys out. These are also locking seat belts in the rear with the impact system, so we're gonna have to undo those connectors on these as well. Success. All right, so definitely had to pull out this piece right here. So we got that guy to pop by getting this guy pulled out so we could get in behind there with our tool and pop it out a little bit. And that allowed us to raise this up and get that guy out. Now let's go start on this side by taking off that panel and then working our way in. There we go. And again, we left one behind, but we got these guys. Now we got room. Got our ratchet and our cheater ratchet. That guy, we got our cheater. Oh, that one's gonna come out by hand. How nice of you. The ones that I thought were gonna be the easier ones are out. So we can ship those off. The only thing left is the one in the center seat. What do we got here? Oh, there we go. Got a couple pins here that we can pull. There we go. Got that guy out. Yep. Oh yeah. Backing plate off. With this guy out, we are in business. We did not need to worry about taking off that armrest. We get to it all from the back. Try my 14. Let's stay on there. We might be able to do this. I think we got it. That just spins right off. 114mm nut on the back of this guy. There we go. And with that, we just got the hardest one of all out, and we are set. We are ready now to send all of this away to Safety Restore and have them coming back looking beautiful with the red stripes. So that's gonna be it for now. Next time you see this, they're gonna look freaking awesome with the red stitching on the outer edges of the webbing. So yes, we got these babies back from Safety Restore and they look absolutely phenomenal. And I can't wait to get these into the Lexus to see how it makes that interior pop. So let's get to it. Just to remind you how torn down this thing is, you can see how the front along the rocker panel are torn apart so that we can get to the bolt in the seat, as well as the trim so that we can get to the B-pillars. We've also got, probably torn down more than anything in this car, is the entire back seat area. We did tear down a little bit extra, some things we didn't need to necessarily take off, but it did allow us to get in there and find all of the bolts we needed to and give us the room to be able to work in there with our hands and get those rear seat belts out. And so now it's a matter of just putting all of that back together and doing it in reverse so that we can see how great these new Safety Restore seat belts look. We are going to take this rear center seat belt and start with it first. It's the last one we took out, and we're going to put this thing back in here and start getting this car put back together. Okay, so there's some clips down in here. You just want to press on those to get those to pop in. Now I'm just going to take my plastic pry tool and get all the edges back down underneath this plastic rear locking mechanism. It's all tucked back in there again now, so that looks good. These are all popped in. So now we will just go around and pop all of these back in around the four sides. Already got this guy in. I'm just going to stick this little guy back in here. So our center section of the rear seat is good to go. We've got this side all put together. The top is popped down. We got our plastic inserts in at the top. Now we just got to fish this through everything here in the side bolsters and get them all put together. I still got to do this right side, finish it up with the side trim. I only had to relocate two of the clips that didn't come out whenever we were taking it apart, so I pulled those out and stuck them in here, and then get this long piece of trim across the front of it, and we should be good to go. So these are really fun to get to because they come in pretty vertical, and you really got to push that bolster over to get to those two 14mm bolts. But we've got them both in and they're both tightened. Tight fit, but we got it. Okay, so we've got the back of the back seats completely installed with all three belts back in there, all the bolts tightened. You saw that it was a little bit of a challenge to get in there and get some of those hinges for this, to get them bolted down. The two bolts on the outer edge, you really have to get in there and kind of pry that bolster over to get to them. And then the one here on this inner edge right behind me, not so bad when you lay it flat and get it bolted down. And we got our bolts down here for the seat belt that comes across. So this one's got a large bracket that sticks over like this, arrow pointing forward, and the little guy coming up here. We've got our plastic little channels here, it's all connected and secured back to the brackets. These brackets themselves are bolted down. So everything is pretty much situated, and now we're ready to go ahead and put the seat bottom back in, and then we get to go back into the trunk and reattach some of the covers in there that we didn't really need to take off. You can see the loop right here. There's one on both sides, and then the front one's just pushed down into the plastic connectors. On those hooks back there, you just get them up underneath those little latches, and they have a little bit of a lip on there that engages, and so both of those are in. You can't really see them because it's in the middle behind this, but you have these access points for the child seat tie downs. Back seat is complete. Front latches are popped in. We're good to go on the back. Okay, now let's get these guys in. So the little metal tabs in here that locate the bottom receiver go into these slots, and that's what delineates which one's your left one and right one. Okay, we got it up in there. Our adjustment's working, so that's good. This is laying up flat, and our trim feels good, so let's get the bottom piece in. So we'll just bring this guy down here to the seat. You can come down here and bolt onto this.
Okay, so these are the tabs again that we're talking about right here. So we will put this guy on here. Make sure he's seated in the tabs. He's good to go. Pull this over here. And I've just been putting this through the back of the armrest there, and that seems to hold it just fine. 14 millimeter at the bottom, 10 millimeter at the top. Make sure the plastic keeper is pulled out on this guy as we push him down in by the black part, and then push the yellow part back in. Plug this guy back in. All right, those guys are good. I'll bring this guy again, keeping him flat that way. Goes up here like this. Okay, so now that guy's on. And take this guy through the plastic piece. Okay, so we'll make sure that's seated everywhere. And then one thing we got to do on the other side is pull it back and put these screws in. Forgot to stick these in. Again, we got all our connectors there. We'll line everything up. Now let's go ahead and get our centerpiece in. Push it down, straight down, so these tabs here can engage on the plastic white tabs. And then this guy. Okay. And then again, this just slides in from the top. And we are good. All we gotta do is hook the battery up. And there we are with our beautiful Safety Restore seat belts with the red stripe to match this beautiful interior. And this baby is ready to go again. All right, guys, and so that's it. It's a tedious job, about 3 hours to take it apart and maybe about 3 hours to put it back together. Send it off to Safety Restore and get your beautiful seat belts back just the way you want them, and reset if you need them reset with a new charge. If they've been blown in an accident, they can also reset your SRS and get it back to you. So again, a huge shout out to Safety Restore. Thank you guys for helping us out so much on this and making this build start off on the right foot with beautiful safety harnesses. And now we're ready to move on to some mods for this car. So please reach down there and like and subscribe and keep coming back, because when we start putting content down on this car, you're not gonna wanna miss it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you again real soon. Take care.